Hi, I'm Ellie from the Dark Imp, helping parents to reclaim family time by playing board games together. Sometimes it works really well for families if different people team up and play together as if they are one player. Now, this can work well for children who are a little anxious, who sometimes struggle to make their own decisions, who get very affected by what happens in a game. If you've got a child who doesn't deal well with losing, it may help them to pair up with somebody else who can keep their mood in check and keep it light and simple and share the responsibility for the decision making in the game. But sometimes you might have more players than the player count for the game allows, and you may choose, if you really want to play that game, to team up together to play as one player. This works really well for some families. The games that don't work very well for that kind of thing are games where there's any kind of speed element. If there's a speed element in the game and you're playing with someone else as one player, you're going to have to take it in turns to play, because you can't both play at the same time. That just isn't fair. You know, you will have double the chance of winning, or half the chance of winning, depending on what the game is. So if it's something to do with speed, then I think it should be one player. In fact, anything timed, that should be one player just doing it on their own. There's a game called Meeple Circus, for example, where you're balancing different things on top of each other, and you get a certain time in which to do that. That would not be fair if you've got two people doing that together when other players are playing on their own. The other thing that you're going to want to avoid is playing games where there's a lot of hidden information. Now, you could on the face of it play these, but there's going to be a lot of whispering between those two players, and it's very easy for other players to pick up on what's being said between those two players, and that's going to really spoil the game. You're going to end up having to keep leaving the room to have discussions. That's going to slow the game down. Nobody really wants that. So avoid games where there's hidden or secret information. So, for example, Don't Count Your Chickens, one of the Dark Imp games, that has hidden information, things that certain players know. And there's a lot of decision making based on the hidden and secret information. There's quite a lot of calculations you do in your mind, and having to communicate those calculations to another player to decide what the action's therefore going to be is going to slow the game up a lot. So avoid this one if you want to pair up. And by the same token, you may want to avoid Top Cake if you are pairing up or teaming up as one player. Top Cake's a bluffing game. Bluffing games are also really difficult to pull off when there's two people playing together as one, because you both have to give a poker face. You both have to not reveal information. For this game, you're going to have to make decisions about which cards you play, and you're going to have to think through what other players might have done. Now, that's not a conversation you want to have out loud. That's a conversation you want to be going on in your own head. So avoid that if you're going to team up as well. However, we have got some great games that you can play at the Dark Imp if you are going to team up. Gnome Grown works really well if you're teaming up. You have your own garden, you're creating your own garden, you have lots of different actions. You can play as a couple, you can have different roles and responsibilities if you want to. You can take it in turns if you want to, or if you're playing an adult and a child, the child can lead with the adult's help and decision making. Oh no, I think we should do that. And there's one bit in the game where you have to decide how many ladybirds to bid, because ladybirds are the currency in this game, and you have to put them secretly in your hand and then reveal them. And I think that that's a small enough and quick enough component of each round for there to be a secret conversation before you do that, because you can easily just have your hand onto the table and show the other person, and the other person go, yeah, I think 3 ladybirds is about right here. So that works quite well if you want to support a younger player or a less confident player. Another one that works brilliantly as teaming up is Donut Dash, and we've played this several times with 2 people on each team. It's all the information is out on the table in front of you, except for some special Sugar Rush cards, which give you special powers and allow you to do certain things. But you and your partner can look at what you have available and go, oh, should we play that one? That seems like a good time to play that one. And the other thing that you decide is which direction you're going to move in that turn. But again, those are on cards, and you can easily say to your partner, let's do this. And everybody's making that decision at the same time. And because everybody's making the decision at the same time about where they're moving, your thought process isn't going to slow the game down. So if you are adding just a little bit of extra discussion time with your partner, that's not going to slow the game down massively, because at the same time you're doing that, everybody else is making that decision too. And of course, this game is about stealing donuts from a donut factory. In fact, each player has a team of 2 donut thieves that they're moving around the board. So this actually fits in quite nicely for 2 players. If you end up having more than 6 players at Christmas dinner, I'm not sure that you'll be able to do that this year, you may want to team up for the cracker games. But also, if you get 2 crackers, there are lots of things you can do to pool the resources together and scale up the games. So you can do that with several of the games. There are 6 games in this cracker. But equally, they're all light. They're all easy. You can easily team up. So that you're right, we're on a team together, we're going to make decisions together. They're quick games, it's not going to slow the thing down. With the coaster games, again, there are some games that you can easily pair up with. It would be hard to pair up with Sleuthbox. Sleuthbox is a game for 2 players. It's a deduction game, so it relies on that secret information. And there'd be just too much open discussion about what are we going to do, and that would slow the game down and spoil it, so avoid that one. But the other games you can definitely pair up with. All of the other coaster games you can definitely pair up with and play together. Mini Town and the placemat games, you can pair up with these if you want to. Of course you don't have to, because you can play with any number of players, but you can if you want to. If you want to support another player and team up, you can definitely do that. So there's no problem pairing up with those. There's nothing secret. You can just chat about what decisions you're making together.